inside tail of the tape for Vladimir Klitschko against Hasim Rahman. You see the 4-year age advantage for Klitschko, a 3.5-inch height advantage, but contradictorily, Rahman has a 3-inch arm length advantage measured from the armpit to the end of the fist. Klitschko in perfect shape at 245. Rahman probably a little heavier than he might like at 253.5. Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer Harold Letterman.
The Vladimir Klitschko has.
大家好，老师从业中医男科30余年，帮助了数千名海内外华人朋友通过中药调理重回男性雄风。如果你也存在房事时间短、勃起无力、硬度差、中途疲软、肾虚、前列腺炎等问题，现在就加中医老师微信574-993-200，纯中药，一人一方，治根治本，帮助你持续坚挺20至40分钟，补肾壮阳，延时助勃，彻底告别快男软男。记住微信574-993-200。
And now Hasim Rahman makes the ring walk. Before leaving the United States, he fired the man he trained with at his training camp, Marshall Kaufman. 2 days ago, Buddy McGirt showed up here in Germany to act as Rahman's chief second in the corner. Lennox, that can't be good for him.
Well, I don't think it's going to be good because what happens is, well, when the new trainer comes on, obviously he wants to do new things and give you new information, but what Rock will always do will go back to what he knows, and it's like he doesn't have a trainer because especially the trainer now is going to give him some information. Will he motivate Rock to actually perform and come out with some punches that he wants him to do?
Typical of a lot of American heavyweights in the recent era, Max. Rahman is a guy who was plucked from other sports and came into boxing at about age 20. Amazingly, he's gone further with boxing technique than any of the others in that category, like Michael Grant and Jameel McCline and various others.
Or most other fighters in any era ever, in the sense that he did indeed become at one time the legitimate, one and only heavyweight champion of the world, and he did so with a knockout over one of the all-time greats, our colleague Lennox Lewis. He is not unused to this atmosphere, and I don't think he's intimidated by it.
So Rahman enters the ring, hoping to make another big score under unusual circumstances, and having already been written off by some media members who feel as though he's just got too much to carry around with the difficulty of an apparently practiced training camp, the firing of a trainer a week before the fight, the arrival of a new trainer 2 or 3 days before the fight, and the problem of facing a longer, taller, more technically sound fighter in Vladimir Klitschko. Klitschko is adored in Germany, although as he learned one night in Hanover with the disastrous knockout loss to Corey Sanders, all that adoration can be turned to ridicule pretty fast.
Yeah, Klitschko suffers in certain ways, as Lennox did, as Larry Holmes did. Not in the sense that he was knocked out. I mean, that's what really turned the crowd against him on that night, the night to which you're referring, Jim. But in the sense that he's a technical fighter who takes what his opponent gives him. So unless he's matched with an opponent who's going to give him something to really fight back at, he's not always going to turn in crowd-pleasing performances.
Like Lennox Lewis, he is the tallest, biggest star of the division, outside, of course, of the 7-footer from Russia, Nikolai Valuev. Like Lennox Lewis, he's trained by Emmanuel Stewart, and Lennox, in several of his recent fights, I had the sense that there was a concern that Klitschko might lose his composure during the fight, and Stewart has been extremely important in keeping him focused and confident and able to go out and execute his style.
Well, I find about Vladimir, he's definitely a focused individual because when he's in the ring, he does what he practices in the gym. And some bad things about him would be the fact that he takes his time a little bit more. Obviously, there's other fighters out there and other people out there that feels that he needs to seize the moment. He needs to impose his will in the fight and needs to go out there and do what a lot of people want to see, and that's knock his opponent out a lot quicker than he's doing it.
So constantly is Vladimir evaluated by media as a process, a career in development, And it's amazing to note that he's closing in on 60 professional fights.
And he's 32 years old. If you look at his resume of heavyweights in the last 10 years or so, with the exception of Lennox Lewis and Evander Holyfield, he's as accomplished, if not more so, than any of them.
And it's not out of the question, if he continues to fight as he says he will, that his career could someday reach 75, 80 fights, making him, in a sense, the ultimate throwback to previous heavyweight eras.
In a sense, that's correct.
Challenger and champion with two national anthems. First, the national anthem of the United States of America. Now, the national anthem of Ukraine. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, meine Damen und Herren, willkommen in der SAP Arena Mannheim. Tonight, K2 Promotions is proud to present the main event of the evening. Das ist die Boxweltmeisterschaft im Schwergewicht, 12 Runden, 12 rounds of boxing for the heavyweight championship of the world. Sanctioned by the IBF, IBO, and WBO, and governed by the DVD. At ringside, the three judges scoring this bout will be from Italy, Walter Cavalieri, from the United States, Robert Hoyle, and from Germany, Manfred Kuchler. And inside the ring, from the United States, in charge of the action at the bell, referee Tony Weeks. Und jetzt aus Mannheim, Deutschland, meine Damen und Herren, Dami Gaspadai, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Fighting out of the blue corner, the Blaue Ecke, wearing black, standing with his trainer, former world champion Buddy McGirt, and officially weighing 115 kilograms. His professional record, 53 fights, 45 victories, including 36 knockouts, with 6 defeats and 2 draws. From Baltimore, Maryland, USA, the challenger, the Herausforderer, im ehemalige Boxweltmeister im Schwergewicht, former two-time heavyweight world champion Hasim the Rock Rahman. And fighting out of the red corner, Del Rota Eka, wearing red with gold, standing with his Hall of Fame trainer, Emmanuel Stewart. Official weight, 111 kilograms. Professional record, 54 fights, 51 victories, including 45 knockouts with 3 defeats. Aus Kiev, Ukraine, zweimaliger Weltmeister, two-time world champion, the reigning, defending IBF, IBO, WBO heavyweight champion of the world, Dr. Steel Hammer, Vladimir Klitschko.
Go, Rock. Okay, Klitschko, Rahman, you both received your instructions in your dressing room. Okay, right here is good, anything below is low. Right here is good, anything below is low. I want a good, clean fight. Obey my commands at all times. Above all, protect yourselves at all times. Let's go.
Rahman has said, I want it, he's got it. Let's see if the former heavyweight champ really does want what the current kingpin's got.
As the bell rings, Vladimir Klitschko looks even more buffed and muscular than has previously been the case. Hasim Rahman at 253, and despite a questionable training camp, looks pretty good. I would have to say, Lennox, that Vladimir has improved his pre-fight glower. He stared at Rahman with what looked like bad intentions throughout that entire ceremony.
It was a definite look of disdain. And, you know, the way how this fight started so far, it turned out good because Rock is bent down low. He's got good position, good balance right now. He's looking to get underneath, looking for some opening, but he throws a good jab. And the good thing that he's doing is blocking the jab. He's not getting hit by any immediate jab so far.
Vladimir goes to the left hook and lands that, backing Rahman up. Rahman acknowledged that Klitschko throws maybe the best left hook in the division. He has a very good jab as well, and he's beginning to land it now. Klitschko has threatened records for CompuBox numbers on jabs in many recent fights, most particularly against Lehman Brewster. When he landed the jab with such ease that had the fight gone a long distance, he might have threatened all records for all weight classes.
Rahman is leaving himself very wide open right now for that left hook. Every time he throws that jab, he puts that right hand somewhere by his waist, and you know, later in the rounds may give him some difficulty. I mean, look right there, he's throwing the jab, but he's keeping his right hand down.
Why are heavyweights so reluctant to throw left hooks, Lennox?
I don't know.
You had a great one and didn't use it all that much.
I think it's a great punch, but you know, something has to come before it. Obviously a jab and a right hand, and you always clean up with a left hook.
And there, Vladimir led with the left hook.
The old axiom is you don't want to hook with a hooker, because if he has a better one than you and it lands first, the fight can end. And I think Rahman knows Vladimir's got a better left hook than him, but you do want to jab with a jabber, because a jab is unlikely to end a fight. But you can disrupt your opponent's even superior jab with your own, and I think, Jim, that's what Rahman's trying to do here.
Yeah, but Klitschko just landed a right hand.
Yeah, and Rahman made the same mistake that he made with me when I threw my right hand. He put out both of his hands at the same time and didn't have no hand back to block a right hand.
No, stop. Come on, watch the back of the head. Here we go.
Klitschko said that he was very careful to watch only tapes of the good Rahman, watching the best Rahman performances. But he did acknowledge that he watched the second Rahman-Moskaev fight, in which Oleg Moskaev was able to land his left hook with amazing regularity. And of course, everyone in the division has memorized the left hook right cross combination with which he flattened Rahman in fall of 2001, Lennox.
Let me tell you, that was right before Christmas, and I had a great Christmas after that.
Keep doing just what you're doing. Your jab is working good. Keep throwing the hook. Ain't that much after a while, he's going to start watching for that. And that's when you just keep working that left
Listen.
Левый снизу построили. Правый не кидается. Пару раз кинулся с правой.
Left jab, you cannot get away from it. Just keep working.
Pull out. Okay, because he's going to catch you pulling out. Close the gap and keep shooting those body shots. Okay? Relax, baby.
Nice relax, you got it.
It's a nice relax, baby. Okay, but keep the heat on him. Okay, don't stand
and here we see Vladimir throwing a straight right hand right through the guard of Rahman, and you don't want to take too much of this if you were Rahman.
Big round for Vladimir Klitschko in the first. By CompuBox numbers, 23 out of 50, including 17 connected jabs. Rahman only 4 of 39. So the Rock was not able to get his offense going as Vladimir Klitschko, as has so customarily been the case, dominated the round with his jab.
Stop.
Rock needs to go in and hit Vladimir to the belly and work his way in.
Stop.
When he's in, he's got to hit to the belly and then come to the head.
Rahman knows that the way he'll beat Klitschko if he has a shot is to turn it into a contest of wills. The question is, will that Klitschko jab sap Rock of his will as this fight wears on before Rahman has a chance to impose his own?
All of Klitschko's opponents tend to complain that he holds, and it certainly is no secret that he doesn't care to fight on the inside much if he can avoid it, and he's perfectly willing to put his arms over your shoulders to make that point.
Rahman is getting set up for the right hand and needs to move his position. Cannot stand in one position and let Vladimir Klitschko set him up for that right hand, because he's like a sitting target if that's the case.
Stop. Come on, watch that back in here.
Referee Tony Weeks handled Beloy and Pacquiao last week and made the trip over to be here for this big fight as well.
Stop.
Now, I know in the corner of Vladimir, Emmanuel Stewart's going to tell him that to throw that uppercut because he's been ducking right every time Vladimir throws a jab. Rahman ducks, so that would be a good setup for a jab, uppercut, left hook.
The uppercut is a punch that Vladimir has been reluctant to throw sometimes, though he landed a couple good ones against Tony Thompson in his last outing. At age 32, he seems still to be improving technically and can already be described probably as the best technical fighter in the division.
If you look at this jab, even when Vladimir Klitschko has been criticized for less than scintillating performances, that jab lands like a power punch. It's blindingly fast, he does not telegraph it, difficult to time, and it lands with a real thud.
There again, Rahman standing in one position, not throwing any punches, and this is the position where you need to be first. You need to be first off your guard, jab, but he's not doing that. He's waiting for Vladimir to jab and set him up. And he's looking to work off of that, but whether he has enough speed and power to do that is the question.
In the early part of the round, Rahman, who tastes the right hand there, got to Vladimir's chest about 5 times, but wasn't really able to do anything while in there. And now, as they fight at distance again, all the advantages belong to Klitschko.
Rahman cannot afford to be hit by that right hand too many times.
Sorry.
Yeah.
December 16, it's the premiere of HBO's latest Sports of the 20th Century documentary, Breaking the Huddle, the integration of college football. The next night, Costas Now looks back at 2008, one of the most memorable years in sports history. Relive the best moments of the year with Tiger Woods, Michael Phelps, and others live from New York.
And listen, keep your hands a little tight. You got your hands.
Every time he comes, he stretches way out here off balance. You just create a little space and then ping, ping, right back.
And here we see two examples of Klitschko setting up the right hand. And let me tell you, Rockman cannot afford to be hit by too many of these in this fight. I mean, they're really showing their effects a little bit. And you don't want to get hit by this, so he needs to keep up that left hand.
Good pop.
Happy Bucks numbers through 2 rounds. Vladimir Klitschko has landed 34 jabs. Asim Rahman has landed just 12 total punches. Nothing of any real significance so far. So 2 technically pure rounds for Klitschko. And as Lennox Lewis keeps pointing out, the danger is there that a big right hand could end it. Klitschko fending Rahman off with the left, keeping him at bay.
Let him up.
And this time it's Rock who reaches out and clinches Vladimir as they come together.
Rock is being flustered by that jab. That jab is bothering him right now. So he's saying he doesn't want to get hit by that jab. He's keeping his hands up and allowing Vladimir to throw his right hand and see if he can work off of it.
Vladimir just did an interesting thing. Normally he throws all right hands straight down the pipe like that one. But moments ago he swept the right hand behind Rahman's guard, much like the right hand with which you knocked Rahman out in November 2001.
Rahman's laying against the ropes. He's just being an easy target. You can't do that because if you get hit by a right hand, there's nowhere to go. His corner is yelling out to him, get off the ropes, and I think that's a good idea.
I think he feels Rahman does. He just doesn't have any chance in the middle of the ring. And maybe he can lure Vladimir into a position where he can hit him with something with his back on the ropes.
Let me tell you, Vladimir is really pacing him with that jab, and there's a lot behind that jab, and it's a snapping jab, and it's really giving him some problems.
You get a headache after a while, right?
Well, if I was Rock, I would block that jab. There's no need to get hit by it because all it's doing is damage, and you know a right hand's coming soon.
Well, if it's a strategy at all, it's a desperate one early in the fight from Asim Rahman.
You see, if I was Vladimir now, I would be throwing a lot of different array of combinations. I would be punching to the body to mix up the punches because right now everybody in this arena knows the right hand's coming. So show something different. Throw a left hook, throw an uppercut, and get Rockman's eyes going somewhere else instead of looking for that right hand. And although he's looking for the right hand, I don't believe he can stop it.
Is Klitschko being too cautious or appropriately cautious?
He's being appropriately cautious right now. I mean, like I said, he needs to mix up the punches, throw some body punches, get Rockman to keep his hands down, throw some different type of punches that are in your arsenal, or and give him something else to think about.
Rahman pointed out that at 6 feet 7 inches tall, Vladimir doesn't really like to throw body punches because he has to lower his hands and expose himself to possibly being hit.
Here's that left hook by Vladimir, which is very effective.
And it was another one-sided round.
Very smart. You didn't burn up too much energy. Now he's tired. Now he cannot fight to get at the center of the ring now. You see how when you hit him with the left hook, before he was missing, his legs is tired now, okay?
Start doing it. You're not doing it.
Oh, it's a three-piece.
You're waiting for one shot. Don't wait for one shot with this guy.
I'll do that, man.
Okay, don't let him get too relaxed. Let him get too relaxed in the zone.
You gotta press him now.
Okay?
Three-piece.
Stay behind the double jab, Rock, and keep the heat on him. You got to keep the heat on him, baby.
Yeah.
Because standing on the outside is not going to work.
You know we ain't gonna be no decision here.
Okay?
Three-piece. You
don't
gotta
look
take
for
it
the
to
knockout. Don't look for it. Just let your hands go.
Okay?
Give him his head.
As he tried to listen to Buddy McGirt's instructions, Hasim Rahman looked very tired, even after only 3 rounds. Harold, how do you have it so far?
Okay, Jim, 3-0. 30-27, Vladimir Klitschko. Jim, I don't know why I scored that 3rd round 10-9, because really, it easily could have been a 10-8 round. Vladimir won it so big. I mean, you just can't do the rope-a-dope against Vladimir Klitschko. He'll kill you. Vladimir piling up points with that left jab, coming across with the real good right hands, just doing a number on Rahman so far. 3-0, Klitschko based on clean punching.
What we're watching here is the best heavyweight in the world. We're watching so far, Vladimir Klitschko against one of the 20 best heavyweights in the world. In Rahman, he's still probably one of the 20 best, maybe on a good night, one of the 10 best. And we're seeing a wide distance between Vladimir and that non-upper echelon kind of contender at this point.
And, you know, I believe that Rahman's still fighting the fight wrong. He needs to put a little more pressure on him. He needs to try and get in there and hit him with some shots, which is not easy because he's trying to duck under the jab. But when he ducks under the jab, a right hand is coming or a left hook. Doesn't really have anything to worry about with the uppercut right now because Vladimir's not throwing it. But
well, you heard the discussion in Rahman's corner as Buddy McGirt accurately observed, Rock, you seem to be looking for one big shot. And the way to land one big shot is not to look for one big shot, but rather to try to land several.
Not only is he looking for a big shot, he's trying to allow Vladimir to tire himself so he'll be able to throw one great punch in there. And this is what he feels that may happen in the fight. But right now he's getting tagged with a lot of shots, which is taking a lot of energy out of him. So whether he's going to have a lot of strength left to be able to throw that big shot is the question.
Layman Brewster, before his upset win over Vladimir Klitschko, said he was going to have to try to beat him like Rocky Balboa would, by taking everything he had early and staying in his chest as the fight wore on, which is what happened, and Brewster won by knockout. Maybe Rahman has the same idea here. Weather the storm early.
Well, as the fight goes on, you know, Rahman's getting a bit more tired. He's still getting hit by those jabs, and whether he can still get away from the right hands, we're going to have to see, because Vladimir is becoming very sharp with the right hand and with the jab. And you know when he hits you with a lot of jabs, the right hand's going to come.
Sometimes you weather the storm, sometimes the storm weathers you. I'd say more often than not.
Since the loss to Layman Brewster in April of 2004, Klitschko has won 9 straight fights, looking for a 10th win in a row here, looking to get to 52-3 in a career which, for his critics, has been defined entirely by the losses and not by the 51 successes. Such are the pitfalls of being the king of the hill.
Okay?
Baltimore in the house. Come
you gotta
on.
light that fuse, though. You gotta start keeping the heat on him. Stop standing on the outside. Don't let the guy get any confidence. You gotta make this a dogfight, right?
Absolutely. You took everything you got.
Okay? You gotta make it a dogfight.
Move your head and
listen,
get in his
hands here. Okay? You got your hands 2 feet apart. Hands here, and let's come in behind the double jab. Just let your hands go. You got it.
The left hooks that you were missing before landing now, because his legs are not, before he could see them, now he can't see them so good. So that's why you're hitting him with the hooks. Before he was in the way, but now you're hitting him with the hooks now. You can step it up a little bit this round. Just get him on out of here.
Hobby box numbers on jabs so far in the fight. Klitschko 89 of 172. In other words, he's landing more than half his jabs, 52%. Rahman 11 out of 106. Lennox, I think Buddy McGirt is giving Hasim Rahman good advice in the corner between rounds, but of 53 previous Rahman fights, Buddy trained him for only 1. So it's really a shot in the dark as to whether he's going to hear Buddy's good instructions tonight.
It's true. Buddy should give him some defensive advice as well and tell him to keep up that right hand, because I can see a left hook right hand coming from Klitschko.
There's the left hook. There's the double left hook. And the straight right hand behind it. Good call, champ.
Jim, you mentioned a shot in the dark, and Lennox, you mentioned it off the top of the broadcast, and that's really what Rahman is here for, isn't it? To see if he can land that shot in the dark, and it's the kind of odds he's facing. It's going to take a shot in the dark to do it.
And let's face it, he does have the knockout power. He does throw a good, wild punch, and I don't think he has enough steam or quickness to be able to catch Vladimir right now. Anything can happen. Lightning can strike, but whether he has enough energy to do it, whether he's in great enough shape to be able to do it is the question. I say he doesn't have enough. He's not in good enough shape to be able to do it. But
he wasn't expected to, and so far the fight is playing out as most expected.
A couple of years ago, in his rematch with Klitschko, when Lehman Brewster was subjected to this kind of jab fest, eventually Buddy McGirt and the others with Brewster decided it was not worth the continued damage, and he kicked it in.
You see when Rock tried to attack Vladimir, Vladimir moved back 2 steps, and Rock missed his punches because he's not quick enough on his feet right now to be able to catch him.
Before Buddy stopped that fight, the rematch, Jim, he told Brewster, and really asked him more than told him, I'm going to stop the fight, okay. He gave Brewster a chance to show that he had some at least desperation left in him, and Brewster didn't. He had the fight beaten out of him. And at a certain point, the question is, will Rahman also have the fight beaten out of him?
But he had virtually the same conversation with Paulie Malignaggi 3 weeks ago against Ricky Hatton. And Klitschko is getting closer and closer to doing real damage, or so it would appear, to Hasim Rahman.
Well, I'd just like to add, I knocked Rahman out in 4 rounds. And this is the 5th round, and Rahman was at his best.
This observation.
This is Rahman at his worst.
Well, Vladimir's a very fast and pretty big puncher, but I don't think there's any ring critic, Lennox, who thinks that he is as heavy a puncher as you were. You had the thudding power. He has shocking power.
Yes.
Stop, I got you.
Ah, but we'll never know. We'll never know, will we, Lennox?
No, hold the hand.
I think some people can form an opinion after watching this fight.
Well, what you're saying is you've formed an opinion.
Yes, I have. Absolutely.
Got a small cut, right eye by a punch.
December 23, Real Sports looks back at its most memorable stories of 2008, capped by a roundtable discussion among Bryant Gumbel and all the correspondents. And beginning December 27, HBO Sports will bring you our Boxing's Best of 2008, 5 memorable fights from the past year. Up first, Antonio Margarito's thrilling victory over Miguel Cotto in July, and Manny Pacquiao's razor-thin victory over Juan Manuel Marquez in their March 15 rematch.
I'm gonna wipe him off.
It's a dogfight with him now, Rock. Okay?
You got him.
Hands up, head moving. Keep that pressure on him.
Absolutely.
All right? Don't stand on the outside. You can't stay on the outside.
He took everything he got.
Okay? Don't stay on the outside. Let's not take no more shots like that, okay?
Okay?
One slight assistance to Rahman that's taking place here is that between rounds periods are longer than a minute. They've been averaging about a minute 10, a minute 15, which means, and it doesn't mean a lot, but it means that Rahman's getting an extra 10 or 15 seconds between rounds to recover. And recovery may no longer be an option as he goes down for the first time on a left-right combination.
5, 6, 7, 8. Come to me. You okay? All right, I'm giving you a chance.
He still looks a bit unstable on his feet, and that punch did hurt him, whether it was a hard punch or not, but it did kind of give him a little bit of cobwebs.
Well, to me, it looks like he's both hurt and exhausted. His legs are going away, whether from the accumulated punishment or the absence of conditioning, or both.
I've never seen Rahman have the fight beaten out of him like this. Even in his losses, he's fought on until the end, and he's been systematically taken apart, and it seems his will to fight on has indeed been broken.
He's never been in the fight even for a second.
Yeah, look, this is an opportunity for him. You know, they said to Rockman, here's a fight, here's an opportunity, here's a date. Can you make it? 3 weeks to train? You know, I would never have taken a fight on 3 weeks to train. Maybe 16 days.
Talking earlier about the difference between you and Vladimir, Lennox, seems to me that the real difference people see in the two of you, both big, both with Emmanuel Stewart in your corner and technicians with power, is that you were tough. When you were knocked down, you tried your best to go on. You won some very tough fights over some great fighters. Do you think Vladimir is tough enough? He's not being forced to show evidence of it here, but do you think he's tough enough to one day be recognized as a great fighter?
Yeah, I mean, he's tough now. What he needs to be doing right now, I mean, he's throwing the jab, but he's throwing just 2 different punches. Jab, left hook, right hand. There's no uppercuts, there's no body punches. Now, this is what people want to see. Want to see true boxing. They're only seeing left hands and right hands and left hooks. But there's uppercuts, there's body punches, there's different combination punches which he should be throwing.
Well, he's known as a cerebral fighter. Are you saying he's not putting the pedal to the metal when he needs to?
Well, I believe that he holds back a little bit too much, where he should really let loose a bit more. Like in this position, he should take his right foot, step over to the side, and start punching from the right side. Switch again and go on the left side of Rockman. Right now he's in front of Rockman. Rockman doesn't have to look anywhere, just look in front of him, because that's where Vladimir Klitschko is.
Stop. Let him up.
In round 6, after constant sustained punishment for the 5 preceding rounds, Vladimir Klitschko finally put Hasim Rahman on the deck. Let's take a look at the combination.
And it was a combination like, you know, Rahman put his head down, he was off balance, and Vladimir hit him with a couple of left hooks, which kept it going that way, and he just was off balance and he fell down. It wasn't a terrific hard shot.
You want to continue to fight?
Yeah, all to the end.
Okay, look, but if you continue to take punches like that, I'm not going to let it happen. All right?
Hey, so you know you got to let your hands go now.
Okay.
Looks fine, though. In the middle.
Okay, listen. You okay, baby?
Yeah.
Okay? All right, man, listen. Let's go ahead and do what we got to do this round, all right? The referee's not going to let you take no shots like that, bro.
We're good.
Okay, you got to make it a dog fight, baby. Okay? All right? Don't give the shots.
I'm letting him lean on his okay?
Yeah, he's okay.
Stop letting him lean on
Let him get back and he regroups.
He's going to hold your right hands now. You know that. He's going to let everything hang out this round.
We're good.
Yeah, I know. Get on him quick. Let's go.
Round 6 was at least a 10-8 round. Vladimir Klitschko was 28 of 68 by CompuBox count in the round, and Hasim Rahman landed 1 of 16 punches. Harold, how do you have it halfway through?
Okay, Jim, 60 to 53, 6-0. Vladimir Klitschko. Jim, I think he's on his game. I got to tell you, he's piling up points beautifully with that left jab, mixing in a left hook and throwing a right hand. You got to give him an extra point in round 6 for the knockdown. Certainly it could have got to 10-7. He won it so big. Be as it may, 6-0, Vladimir Klitschko.
Now Rahman wobbles again after another left-right combination. You heard referee Tony Weeks warning Rahman he won't be allowed to continue to take sustained punishment.
And here it is.
This is over, baby. This is done. And Vladimir Klitschko, criticize what you will. He's 52-3 with 46 knockouts. Not bad.
Long tradition in boxing, throughout boxing history, of the dominant heavyweight of the moment taking on a former champion who's no longer at his best, but has name recognition and dismantling him. And here is another example of that.
One thing for sure, if you're going to fight Vladimir Klitschko, you better be in great shape. You better be in shape to be able to take a punch and go through the complete rounds all the way to 12. If you're looking at you're only in shape to go 5 rounds, you're not going to win the fight.
Let's take another look at the action which prompted referee Tony Weeks to step in and protect Hasim Rahman by stopping the fight.
Well, Rahman's got these punches and he's thrown a lot of different punches, but I'm talking Vladimir. And, you know, the ref didn't want to see any more punishment because there was no way that Rockman could have won this fight. And he looked very tired. He went over to talk to him in the corner, and Rockman couldn't even hardly say a word. He was definitely tired.
You told us in the first round, Lennox, that Hasim Rahman was wide open for the left hook. And that turned out to be a very prescient call. Throughout the fight, it appeared Vladimir could not miss with the left hook.
He couldn't miss with the left hook. He was very sharp. I mean, Rockman gave him an easy target, didn't move his head, and was standing in one place. And, you know, it seemed like a lot of steam has come out of Rockman. He doesn't have it like he used to have it. And, like I said, he took this fight on a couple weeks' notice. Whether he's in good shape or not, he was in shape to go through at least 3 rounds, but not the complete fight.
You made a great point when you just said moments ago, if you're going to fight Vladimir Klitschko, you had better be in sensational shape and ready to go 12 rounds at a fast pace. Does that, for the moment, disqualify American knockout sensation Chris Arreola, who seems to have a problem controlling his weight?
Well, I believe so. I mean, Arreola is a great guy, great fighter, but if you fight him in a 12-foot ring, you're going to have problems. But in a 20-foot ring where he has to move around and use some boxing and technical skills, it's going to be very difficult for him because he's not that type of fighter. So I don't see that being a good fight for him. I think he needs to get some boxing experience, some technical experience, and then he can really come in, because obviously it's a good fight to see, but it's not a good fight.